I didn't go to the farm to remember him. That's what I told myself as I took the keys from the lawyer's hand, nodding as if this were just another task left behind by a man who liked control. Sell it, close the chapter, move forward. That was the plan. He had never raised his voice about anything except this place. Don't go there, he'd said once, not loud but final. I had laughed it off at the time. People have their spaces, their odd rules. Marriage doesn't mean you open every door. Now the door was mine. The drive out felt longer than it should have. Not because of distance, but because of the quiet. Without him beside me, without the small, familiar interruptions, the road seemed to stretch into something I hadn't agreed to face. The farm appeared almost suddenly. No grand entrance, no sign of decay. Just a house sitting still, like it had been waiting without urgency. That was the first thing that unsettled me. It didn't feel abandoned. I stood there for a while before unlocking the door. Not out of fear exactly. More like hesitation you can't quite justify. The kind that doesn't ask permission but still slows your hand. When I opened it, the air inside wasn't stale. It was settled. There was no dust thick enough to suggest years of neglect. No chaos. No sign that this place had been locked away as tightly as he had made it seem. I stepped in, careful without knowing why. The furniture was simple but not forgotten. A chair slightly pulled back from the table. A glass clean placed upside down to dry. Curtains drawn just enough to let light in without exposing the inside. It wasn't staged, it was maintained. I moved slowly through the rooms, not searching for anything in particular, just trying to understand what I was standing inside. This wasn't a secret in the way I had imagined secrets. Hidden, messy, desperate. This was organized, intentional. In the bedroom, I paused. There were clothes in the wardrobe, not mine, not his either, not in the way I knew his things. Different sizes, different textures, a life adjacent to ours, not overlapping. I didn't feel anger, not immediately, just a quiet rearranging of things I thought were fixed. On the dresser, there were papers, not hidden, just placed. Receipts, notes, a few documents with dates that didn't match the story I had lived beside him. He hadn't disappeared into this place. He had continued here regularly. The realization didn't break anything inside me. It tightened something instead. A slow, deliberate pull. I sat down without meaning to, the chair creaking slightly under my weight, and for the first time since he died, I felt something other than loss. Not betrayal, not exactly. More like exclusion. I had been included in a version of him, carefully measured, complete enough to feel whole, but apparently not the only one. Outside, I heard a car. It startled me, not because it was loud, but because it didn't feel unexpected. As if this place had always belonged to more than just memory. A man stepped out, older, deliberate in his movements. He didn't look confused to see me there. If anything, his expression carried a kind of confirmation. "You must be her," he said, not unkindly. I stood unsure how to place myself in that sentence. "I have the keys," I replied, which felt insufficient but was all I had. He nodded as if that aligned with something already settled. "I figured they'd pass to you," he said. "It's in the record. The record, not a hidden arrangement. Not something fragile or illegal. Documented. Known." "Did you know about this place?" I asked, though I already understood the answer. "I've been overseeing parts of it for years," he said. "Your husband made sure everything stayed in order." There was no hesitation in his voice, no sense of stepping into something delicate. For him, this wasn't a revelation. It was continuity. Control shifted in that moment, not because he took it, but because I understood I had never held it the way I thought I did. This farm wasn't something he hid out of fear. It was something he separated. I walked back inside after he left, the quiet now different, less uncertain, more defined. The space hadn't changed, but my position in it had. I wasn't uncovering chaos. I was stepping into a structure he had built without me. I went back to the bedroom, opened the wardrobe again, and this time I didn't hesitate. I took one of the shirts, plain, worn at the collar, and carried it to the living room. There was a small fireplace, unused but ready. I didn't burn the place down. I didn't destroy what he left behind. I folded the shirt once, carefully, and set it inside. Then I lit it. The flame was small, controlled. It didn't spread, didn't threaten anything beyond what I allowed. I watched until it was gone. Not everything he kept needed to remain intact. Not everything needed to be erased either. When I stepped outside again, the air felt clearer, though nothing had really changed. The farm was still mine, legally. What it meant, though, that was no longer something he could decide. I locked the door behind me, not with finality, but with awareness. Some things I would return to, others I would leave exactly where they had always been.